Devils? J-Dawg back to answer more goddamn questions. Only one goddamn pathetic ass fucking paid ski today. Quota's goddamn 5. We've already been over that, but it's kind of a longie, goddamn. It's the whole fucking page from Jason Jones. Paid question. What's up, J-Dawg? I'd like to hear more info of your thoughts on cover bands in the metal scene. We all know about the obvious ones. I Am Homo, Pantera, Venom Inc., all bands who exist because certain band members can't work with each other, like Gay Dave and Trey, or in the case of Pantera because they're dead and theirs have decided to sell out to make money. There are also ongoing bands like In Flames and Fintroll. Yeah, two bands I never cared about at all personally, who have not had any original members present in a decade or more, yet still release new music and tour consistently. I mean, dude, if you think about it, technically speaking, I mean, it's getting really technical, but it is technical. Napalm Death doesn't have a single original member for eons. Well, not I mean for since the very beginning. Like Shane Embry's the closest one to an original member, and he's not even on the demos or half the LP of Scum. So, take that for what you goddamn will. But then there are other bands that continue on long after they should have ended and have become shells of their former selves. That's the vast majority of bands. I think we can all agree that bands like Suffocation and Sinister are basically cover bands at this point. 100% agree. With only one original member left and a rotating cast of characters filling out the live shows and appearing on records. Hell, I'd even consider Judas Priest a cover band at this point. Yes, but bands like Judas Priest, for example, that's a little bit more pass. Granted, I haven't listened to anything. The last thing I heard by Priest was... I mean, I've heard it, but it's been years, like since I was a kid, is Jugulator, and that's Halford's not even on that. I'm trying to think if I ever heard a record after Jugulator. The last one I own and like is Painkiller. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even heard anything after Jugulator. But what I'm getting at is Priest. If it's got Halford, you could get away with it because he's the face of the band, Ozzy Osbourne. If it's Ozzy, you can get away with it. I'm not saying none of the other guys matter. Like it was best with Randy. I'm not saying that, but that's at least not asinine. Merciful Fate has to have King Diamond. Like if it was Hank Sherman, Michael Denner, and let's say they've got Kim Russ back. Obviously, you can't use Timmy because he's fucking dead. They got some Hoagie on fucking bass, and they got somebody singing for King. That would not work. But King Diamond could do Merciful Fates, just him and a bunch of filling guys. Now, I'm not saying that's ideal. I'm not saying that's fucking awesome, but it still could work. Because there are certain guys where it's like they were the face of the band. There's not too many bands that are in that category. Dio would have been another one. But there are some. And I would say Priest is one of those. And that's coming from a guy completely unbiased because, again, last thing I heard was Jugulator. I don't fucking know what the hell Priest's doing. I mean, like, if someone says, yeah, have you heard the new Priest? Well, I'm sure it's not unlistenable. It's just, I just don't even care. Hell, I didn't consider, but apparently I'm the only person in the scene who didn't give a shit about Invincible Shield. I'm assuming that's a Priest album. Never even heard of it. So, what do you mean you're the only person dude, I can honestly say this, dude. Granted, I've heard of a couple guys. I hear there's some weirdo in Cleveland that listens to Priest every single day, like when that Nostradamus album, whatever, I heard about that one. He had a countdown on his fucking, like he literally had like a counter on his front lawn or some shits. How many times he listened to Nostradamus? It was up to like 327 or some shit, like after it came out. Fucking homie. Don't even know if I've ever met the guy. I just heard about it through people talking about it. That could be a complete bullshit story, but I've heard it from a couple people. Outside that, again, I don't even know if I've ever met this fucking guy. Maybe I've seen him at a metal show or something like that. I don't know anybody. I could say, other than like Painkiller, I know guys that like Painkiller. I don't think I know anybody that likes anything after Painkiller. Now, I know there is people that do, so shut the fuck up, Bubbles. I know you're going to put the comments, what do you mean, dog? I loved them since 1992, everything up. I even bought the last record. I'm not saying there's nobody on the planet. Clearly somebody is, because they wouldn't be continuing putting records out, because the only reason the band's still around is to make money. They're not doing it for goddamn passion. You can best believe that. It's for a paycheck. So I'm aware somebody's buying those shitty albums. I'm just saying, me personally, I know quite a few people in the scene. I don't know anybody that cares about those records. But do they exist? Clearly. So when you say only person in the scene, what do you mean? I don't know a single person in the scene that does care about those records, homeboy. So nope, you're right in the proper spot. So my question for you, J-Dawg, is at what point does a band stop being original and start being a cover band? The category most of them are in. Is the modern day Merciful Fate a cover band with no Michael Denner? Kind of, but again, since it's got King Diamond, it could work. He's the face of the band. Dude, again, as much as a huge Fate fan I am, look at the guys in the back of the LP and shit. King's the only one that looks cool. I mean, Nuns Have No Fun. Jesus fuck, dude. Denner in those dumbass cheetah pants. Hank Sherman, then he went on to go do Fate, and he was wearing, like, purple clothes and shit. Like, but even when they were in Fate, they didn't look goddamn epicardectimony fucking bad, but it just looked like some guys, it just looked like some dad rocker on stage. No effort, no nothing, no upside down crosses, no black, like, gauntlets and spikes and fucking, I mean, they don't need to be wearing metal shirts on stage. For a band like Merciful Fate, it's actually fitting not to wear band shirts on stage. But why not some spikes, some inverted crosses, some inverted pentagrams? Well, why? They didn't look the least bit goddamn metal on fucking stage. Again, just looked like a bunch of dad rockers. Shit, my fucking dad back in the 70s, he had long hair. I've seen photos of it. He was cut when I was born. Get us mistaken for that. Again, he'll be the first to tell you, I don't like that headbanging shit. He doesn't like metal music. He does not like heavy metal. I don't like the headbanging shit. Exact words, and I quote. Literally what he would fucking say. But he likes classic rock. He looks just as metal as Hanky Panky Sherman and goddamn fucking and Denner and even Kim Ruz. Timmy Grabber, at least later on, had the patch on the eye. Looked, I guess, kind of cool. Some Snake Plissken action, I guess. I'm really grasping at straws. But as far as, like, they were just kind of like good musicians that it's like, all right, gotta show up. But showman-wise and shit, King pulled the whole load, dude. With the goddamn cross microphone, the makeup, dude, everything, everything, dude. The shit he'd say on stage, the skull of Melissa, everything. Had the inverted cross necklaces, the inverted pentagrams. These fucking hoagies just showing up, just a bunch of dad rockers, weekend warriors. So no, King could do it without them. And the thing is people like, oh, I can't tell. Like, well, Denner's not on guitar. I can totally tell. What do you mean, dude? As long as he's playing the right. I have never gone to a show and been like, I can't tell that that's so and so on guitar. As long as they're playing, assuming they're not fucking up. I mean, if they're fucking the songs up, that's different. But then again, it could have been even the guy that wrote the songs could have fucked them up. You're playing a fucking a piece of machinery. It's not a voice. A voice is human, is an actual fucking person. That's the hardest to recreate. The actual music and stuff, yeah, but they don't have the same style and stuff. I get that, and you can especially tell in drums and stuff like that. Like, I could pick it up drummers like, for example, on Sinister, AAD, Odd, what the fuck his name is. I always say it like that. He had a specific drum sound. I get that, but I'm just saying, like, if you, technically speaking, you could get a guy, if he's talented enough, just play it exactly like they do on the record. And would you be able to tell a difference? Not if the guy's doing it right. You get a different vocalist. I mean, because even, again, the only singer that sounds like fucking Merciful Fate is the almighty goddamn Attic. We already know that. But I can tell a difference. So let's cut the shit too. If Merciful Fate had to get one guy, only one guy to sing for him, it would be the Attic singer. And to be honest, I'm not saying do that, but I would go see that just because I'm a super fan of both. That would be kind of cool. I'd be curious to say I've seen that. But even him, as close as he sounds, I could still tell it. I can tell the difference. But if you get a guy, whoever's playing for Michael Denner now, I don't know what hoagie was up there. I couldn't tell a difference. Oh, wasn't it? What's his face? The Dead Again guy. What, Mike Weed wasn't up there. I couldn't tell a difference. I didn't notice anything. So Fate could do it, but yes, in most cases, no. It's like, what about projects like Vader, where one member has always been the driving creative force of the band? Yeah, Peter's the balls of the band. I mean, granted, it would have been ideal Peter and Doc, because Doc definitely had his own drum style too that you can identify. But Peter was the main guy. But if it was ideally for Vader to continue on, like would the perfect scenario is like would be Peter and Doc, and then everybody else they're interchangeable. Obviously, the answer to this question might change on a band to band basis, but I appreciate your thoughts on this. Stay brutal. Yeah, I think I pretty much made my goddamn point clear. I mean, but most of it is kind of annoying. When I say cover bands and I'm ripping on that, it's usually because I'm like, you go to see them and it's like, this sounds nothing like what like the stuff that I'm a fan of. Like, who's a goddamn good example? I mean, I guess we'll just keep throwing them under the bus. Is fucking Sinister. They don't sound anything like they sound nothing like they left off. Deeds of Flesh, another band. The last Deeds of Flesh album, I don't know what it was, but I heard a later one. I'm like, this sounds nothing like the Deeds of Flesh records I like, the first 5. Like, nothing. It sounds like a completely different band. That's the problem with it. I guess if you were to get a bunch of one original guy and a bunch of cover boys, if you were really able to keep the same formula, same sound, and still write good songs, I guess then it would be fine. But in all honesty, I can't think of anybody that's done that. With the exception, like I said, like Vader and stuff like that. But, kind of like I said, does it count? I mean, does Peter write everything? Don't quote me on that. I think he writes most. But none the goddamn less, dude. He's the head honcho. He always has been. So it's like, just like Nunslaughter. Is it pretty much cover Slaughter these days? Yeah. But the reason it kind of fucking works is because Big D was the guy. I mean, we're all the original guys from the demos and shit. I mean, I know Greg Beale's still in the metal. He's clearly not going to do interviews because I fucking emailed him and just no goddamn reply for doing one. But the other guys like Jur the Butcher and shit, do they even listen to metal? I'm not saying they don't. I don't know. But and then that band's always been interchangeable. Nunslaughter always was, and looked in my eyes, is Jim Sadis and Dawn of the Dead. But Don started and it was his band. And when Don took over on vocals, because some of you may not know this, all you goddamn poser-ass newbies just found about Hell's Headbangers 2 goddamn years ago from the channel, that type of scenario, is Don on the first couple releases, he wasn't even the original singer. Greg Beale was the original singer. Don did bass. And when Greg left, Don took over the vocal duties. But did you notice, too, if you listen to those goddamn Nunslaughter, the demos, Ritual of Darkness, and now don't count Ronnie Christ, because you can't tell what the fuck's going on that. And then Impale the Soul, you could tell, because what's the last one with Greg singing? Is it Face of Evil? Is that the first one he's off? You could tell when Don took over the vocals, the style is like Greg's was. I'm not saying the voices sound identical. I can hear the difference, but it wasn't like one's grown and one's raspy. It wasn't like more like what even Morbid Angel did. When David Vincent sang on Altars, it was the same style, that raspy, kind of in between black metal, death metal vocals, what Mike Browning was doing. It wasn't like you had Mike Browning and then now all of a sudden you had Glenn Benton growling. It's like, this is dumb. This wasn't and that's part of the reason why I'm half a Blessed Are the Sick and Covenant. What are you doing, dude? Like, why are you completely changing the vocal formula? That to me is a no-go. That is the voice of the band. You're completely changing it. Nunslaughter kept what Greg was doing, what started off as. So for the Nun, it works too, because it's Don. All he needs is some fucking fill-in guys, basically. So yeah, there's exceptions, but most of it just doesn't work because it's like you sound nothing what your first couple albums sound like literally nothing. Completely different band. Just change the fucking band name. Goddamn order question from Justin Vincent. What's up, J-Dog? Ordering for my badass kid's 14th birthday. All medium. Order question. Starting to buy my kid all the shit I wore to school as a kid. He's got a Deicide prominent battle jacket, too. I used to get sent to the office all the time back in the mid-90s for wearing Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, etc. Upside down cross, question mark. Some girl will get scared and boom, right to the office, bro. I persisted even though they tried. Do you have any stories? Did you wear the good? Cuts off there. Yeah, I mean, in high school, not so much. I didn't get too many problems there. One or two minor incidences on the shirts. It was middle school. So 7th, 8th grade, those type of years. So where it's like I had to turn shirts out inside out constantly. Which specific ones? I could tell you was for sure, from what I remember on top of my head, was the TISH, House by the Cemetery. Owned it back then, goddammit. In middle school, homie. Butchered at Birth. Tomb of the Mutilated. What else did they make me turn inside out? Again, we're going back. This is over goddamn 20 years ago. I had Repulsion Horrified, the worm-infested rotten flesh, that's just what I lust in the back. I can't remember if they had me turn that inside or out or not. I remember kids fucking commenting on the phrase and shit. Jesus, fuck, that's gross. Goddamn right, homie, oh boy. Deathmetal's supposed to be gross, Grand. Your canoe fucking ass don't know that, motherfucker. Yeah, I can't remember so far. But I had to turn my shirt inside out very often in middle school. And then once you got to high school, that kind of died off because there's so many. We went to a high school where there were so many goddamn kids, or at least to the size of the building. I mean, there was like I think the school attendance was like 2,000. I think it was. I don't know if that's considered a shitload because it's somebody in Montana, they're probably like, holy fuck, that's a lot. My school had 300. Then somebody in goddamn New York and LA, probably, what are you talking about, homeboy? There's 10,000 in my school. That's a drop in the bucket. So who the fuck knows? But I remember. At the time, they're like, man, this is a packed high school. That's what they'd say. It's overcrowded. I remember those words. Whether it was or not, who the fuck knows? It's all I knew. I didn't have anything to compare it to. So, John Morris, Attention J-Dog. This is another question. Attention J-Dog, question for the channel. Much like you offer fitness coaching for $100 a month, would you ever offer business coaching in the same way? I mean, if you want to send me $100 and ask me questions, I could tell you yay or nay to the questions, but I don't just try to just grab people's money and fucking run with it. I like to be honest. What business advice do you think I can give you, dude? And I say that, again, just to be honest. I didn't go to business school. To me, again, a lot of shit is such common fucking sense that it's insane. We did the math. What reason we started not the business side, we started the goddamn distro first, and then the label side. But let's start with the goddamn, actually, the first part, the distro side. Got a CD for fucking $8 or whatever, you sell it for $12, you made $4. I mean, what business do you need to? That's what it is. And then when Jim Sadis, rest in peace, confronted us, hey, you guys want to put me on CD out? When it's kind of, we're kind of like, what do you put your CD out? We don't do that. I think he was confused, or maybe he had a vision. I don't fucking know, but I don't know why he officially asked us to put out the Spawn of Satan Bloodsick, the very first release we did, split CD. And what's entailed of that? Explain it. And he's like, yeah, to press 1,000 CDs is basically $1,000, give or take. And you usually give the band that time at common like 15%. So you'd give it was a split release. So I think we did 10%, 10%, 20% total. So 100 copies of Spawn of Satan and 100 copies of Bloodsick. So you have we have 800 discs left. Okay, we paid 1,000, 800 discs. It's, what is that, $1.40 a unit or whatever, $1 or something? That's your cost. Well, traditionally you sell CDs for $10. Right. So if you sell all 800 at $10, that's $8,000. Yeah, that's $8,000. You spent $1,000. That's $7,000 profit. Like, this is just us as kids. Like, yeah, I mean, that's what you do. Now, before you get a fucking boner and you're like, God damn, dog just spilled the beans. Holy fuck, I'm running with that. You got to be able to sell it, homie. And on top of that, it's a lot of work. Packing that shit. Yeah, being able to promote it. Replying to emails, which nobody likes to goddamn do. In a timely fashion, too, homie. Pack the shit up, run to the post office, buying packing supplies, all the shit. There's a bunch of bullshit that goes in with it. But the premises of doing business, you got a CD for $2 and you sell it for $10. You made $8. Like, that's it. That's what we ran with. Didn't go to business school, nothing. Accounting and shit like that, I don't know the first fucking thing about accounting. All my tax and shit, I'll tell you exactly what I do. I just grab all my paperwork, I hand it to our accountant, give me the goddamn bill. That's what it is. I don't even look at the fucking things. Here's all my fucking papers. Psh, take care of it, homie. That's what we pay him for. So I know nothing about that shit. Yeah, I think a lot of people they're just overcomplicating crap. So that's my business advice. So if you want to pay me $100, to basically tell you that, because that's the only info I have for you. If you want to ask a bunch of other questions, like, oh, I got this and this question for you though, dog. It's gonna be probably a lot of I don't know, man. Didn't have to deal with that. Google it, YouTube it. It's probably gonna be a lot of that. That'd be my goddamn coaching. So if you want to send over $100 for that, that's on you, dude. Comes with insurance, you live with you. But they got my skins in the morning. And don't forget them goddamn paid skis. Down by 4 today, goddammits. And your goddamn Dead by Dog ticket in the description box, homie. And your goddamn J-Dog slogan shirt. Get them now, goddammit. Later.